What up, everybody? Welcome back, strong, well-fed, outspoken. This is officially episode 1, yes, of season 2. So if you guys are like, yo, where these bitches been? We were on summer break. Thank you very much, because we need a little break too, people.
Amen to that. And also, we need some downtime to see what you guys are going through. What are we going to plan? What are we going to talk about? Right?
Yeah.
We want it to be relevant.
We need to give you guys a chance to miss us.
Yes. We're big personalities. We need to give you a break.
Yeah. This wasn't a break for us. It was a break for you guys. Let's be honest.
Yeah, work break.
But on that note, actually, quite a few of you guys reached out to us over there. We didn't even take the full summer off. It was like a month.
Yeah.
And a few of you guys reached out and were like, I'm loving the podcast. When's the next episode? Yes, we love that.
Which honestly, so thank you, everyone.
Yeah, it got us pretty pumped. We sat down and planned out like our next, I don't even know, like 10 or 20 episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we have a lot of good stuff coming for you guys this season 2. And this might be the last time, just to give you guys a heads up, you will be hearing us intro it like this.
Yeah, our chaotic intros.
Yeah, our chaotic intros. The outros will probably stay the same, but just to give you guys a heads up, we're trying to make it a little bit more clean cut, less ADD. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, because really, like, we always talk about like learning from our mistakes and growing and continuing to show up wherever you're at in your journey. And we're doing that here with you guys on this podcast. We've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Season 2 is going to be bigger and badder than ever.
Yeah, louder,
stronger, more fed,
Definitely. This episode, we are starting off with a really fun topic.
Okay, but before we do that, what if you're new here? Who are you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Like season 2. Hey, hi, hello. Yeah. Welcome to the madness, honestly. So, yes, this is our podcast, Strong, Well-Fed, and Outspoken, where we talk a lot about anything really health, fitness, workout, nutrition related. You guys can kind of consider us like your sisters of fitness. So my name is Rusty, aka Coach Frizzle, and this is my co-host.
What's up, guys? I'm Coach Alana Nell, but nobody can say Alana correctly, so we just go by Nell because it's short and sweet. Yeah. Which is the only thing short and sweet about me.
Yeah. That's awesome. And if you are new here, get ready, because Nell has pretty much set the precedent that she has to introduce herself in a new way every episode. So,
well, we won't if we have an intro.
Yeah, true.
I'll be halfway through the episode. Wait, guys, here's the thing about me.
Yeah. Here's one random thing that I'm just going to throw in. But yes, today's episode, guys, is a really fun topic. And it's a topic that, if I'm being real with you, I honestly don't see anybody else talking about. And I think that's because from a fitness perspective, most of social media like shits on the idea of like changing your workouts around too often, which there is truth to. But we're going to talk about what I have often called gamifying your workouts. So,
and I think a lot of people don't talk about it in the industry because they rely on outside sources.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not necessarily always the case, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is a lot of, like, if you guys have struggled with feeling bored in your workouts, if you have struggled with a lack of motivation, if you've just felt like blasé, not driven, you're not seeing progress, there's a bunch of reasons why gamifying your workouts can be so beneficial. But the first, I think, key question is, how competitive are you?
Have you not heard our intros? It's just, I grew up in a very competitive family. I have 5 younger siblings. So like if you're not competing, you're not living kind of vibes. And also my mother was very driven in gamifying a lot of things for us as kids. And so that by default really ties into today. And so I'm highly competitive, but I'm also very bad at a lot of things. So it's awkward. I'm like, I have to be number 1, but also I'm trash at this one thing we're doing.
I don't want to lose, but I'm not good.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you the type of like competitive person that like, if somebody's winning, you'll be like, no, that didn't count, or you'll try and like
see, my competitive is like, I have to be number 1. Okay. So it's very much what I'm doing. You know what? Like, follow the rules, don't follow the rules. I don't care. You're cheating. I'm going to cheat to beat you. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. You're not going to try and find like holes in their strategy. You're just going to find whatever way it takes for you to win. Yeah. Maybe not quite that, but very, it's self. It's not so much about tearing other people apart for me.
Okay, that's good of you. I'm not like that.
owning your shit. I love that.
Yeah, I'm super competitive. I think as well because there was like 3 of us growing up, me, my sister, and my cousin, who was basically like a brother, but I was the youngest. So I was always, and
relatable.
I was 6.5 years younger than my cousin, or 6 years from my cousin, 7 years from my sister. So like I was younger. So I was always like, I got to keep up. Like I got to tag along. And I was always into sports from a very young age. So was my cousin. And so like literally every time he'd be over, which was a lot, we would always go and start playing sports, soccer, baseball, basketball, whatever it is. And I hated to lose, but he was very good at sports. And he always, I remember from a young age, had the mindset of it doesn't matter. Cause you know, the moms my mom and aunt would be like, let her win. She's young. And she'd be like, no, she has to learn. Well, didn't that just like drive my competitive edge? Yeah. Up. But like, I remember like girlfriends and I, like we'd play board games. Like what's the one or categories? Where you have a letter and then you have to write all the things in 10 minutes and we'd be like, that's not a real word. And like all our other friends would just be like sitting there while we'd be like yelling at each other. I'm very competitive.
It's true. I actually just sent my brother a meme or whatever online. And it's like me having a normal conversation with my brother. And it's that like, she came down in a bubble. What other people are hearing. We're very competitive.
Yes, very competitive. I will admit it, I've definitely cheated to win. Not like, in life. I'm talking board games, people. Like,
I cheated once and it haunts me to this day.
Does it really? I'm like, no.
But because I didn't cheat for myself.
Oh, you cheated for like a friend?
Yes, in school, in a competition. And she went on to compete at a provincial level.
Oh, okay. No, that's the kind
it haunts me to this day.
Yeah. Okay, bro. I'm not judging you, but like that's another.
Yeah, 7th grade me had to learn a lesson the hard way.
That's another. Yeah, I'm talking like Monopoly or like frustration with like my dad, where I'd be like, look at that, and then I'd like move my thing over. Not like competition. Anyways, good vibes only. We've grown as people.
Yeah, so healthy competition. That's healthy, challenging, and gamifying here. That's what we're all about.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. First of all, if you guys are currently thinking like, what is gamifying? There's literally like or gamification. These are actual words with definitions. So why not
let's break it down. So what is a game? No.
Yeah. But no, like honestly, to gamify, if you look this up, the definition is, the process of adding games or game-like elements to something, such as any type of task, so as to encourage participation, right? So that would be like the verb. Whereas the noun of gamification then is the application of elements of game playing to other areas of activity. Typically, this could be seen as an online even marketing technique to encourage engagement with a product or service. But typical examples of this would be like point scoring. Again, competition in general with others is a type of gamification.
Yeah, rewards, social interactions within things.
Yep.
My personal favorite, progressions.
Yeah. But even like the rules of games are a type of gamification, right? It is literally adding elements, as it said, to something, to any type of task. So how can we take this same approach to our workouts? There's a lot of different ways, honestly, you can come at this. But overall, from being a very competitive person, even from when I first got into fitness, I started using these elements, but I didn't really know what I was doing was considered gamifying, right?
Yeah, truly.
For me, it was all about like, how can I keep myself showing up? Because let's be real, when you're starting off, before you are addicted to the endorphin kick, before you are, obsessed with hitting more PRs or whatever it is, it's really hard to develop the habit of working out. Can we be real about that? Like,
absolutely,
it's hard. There's a reason why, we're always looking for new ways to find motivation, and motivation, as we say, is not something we want to rely on because it is fleeting. Yes, but at the same time, finding ways to motivate yourself, even if that looks different, can be one of the best factors for helping you build that addiction to the dopamine kick you get from working out, to, again, setting that new habit, whatever it might be. So like for me, or you know what, let's say this. let's talk, like the things that hold people back the most, right? As we said, it's a struggle to develop this new habit, but like, what are the things that tend to hold people back, even for you guys out there, the most? When have you fallen off from, being in your routine, or found it the biggest struggle, or why has it been like the biggest struggle for you?
I mean, I think for a lot of people, it's usually something unexpected happens or unplanned, right? And then there's no real, like, because you're not focusing on a certain thing, and this is where gamification comes in, is there's not that like, I want to keep going. Yeah. It's like, oh, I thought I was going to do that and then I didn't. Whereas with gamification, it's like, I want to keep doing this because I want to keep seeing whatever you're working on.
Yeah.
And I think so for a lot of people, it's just like an unplanned thing or something that maybe came up unexpectedly that they've felt deemed more attention.
Yeah, for sure. I find that like the things that hold people back the most when it comes to like getting into the rhythm, or just like, developing this addiction, let's say, to working out, this love for working out, is first of all, when we're talking about
fear and confidence too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Anxiety, confidence, those are huge things. So sometimes making it fun can be a way to get yourself out of your head, right? But lifting is lonely. Can we talk about that?
That's true.
Weightlifting is a lonely sport unless you do have a workout buddy.
Even then, right? Like,
yeah, you're still kind of
it's a personal thing. Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, I like, have you ever had a workout buddy over the years?
On and off, in a sense, right? Like, for a long, well, not a long while, I guess about a year, my husband and I consistently worked out together, but it was still separate, right? Like, we were doing separate programming. So we would go and, you get the little like wink across the gym, or the thumbs up, or the like, hey, can you come film my set or spot me? But at the same time, we're not doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, I've only ever had one girl that I worked out with, and we worked out together, a friend of mine, for like a year and a bit. And a big reason why I never really did beforehand is because like, I'm not here to socialize. Like, for me, this is like, I want to get in, get out. She actually like kept up with me really well. And it was awesome. We were good friends, and it was good. But even while we were working out, you have that motivation from someone being like, let's go one more. But like, you're not talking. You're not like, no. Oh, how was your weekend? Or if you are, then newsflash, you're probably not working that hard.
You're selling yourself short.
Yeah.
Like, I've had workouts like that. I've tried having like workout buddies, and it does very much become that. Or they're like, like, can you just make sure I'm doing everything this way? And I'm like, that's not really why we're here, right?
Yeah. They know. I know I've had some friends in the past, because they know they're like,
we're experienced in the field now, right?
Yeah. I'm like, I love you, but I'm here for my workout.
And I'm not expecting you to keep up with me at this point either. Yes. Right? Sometimes you have to be realistic about where your capacities are at.
Totally. But yeah, lifting can be quite lonely. That in and of itself can be demotivating for a lot of people, right? It's something you're doing every day. Other people love it. I personally love it, but again, to get to that point, it can feel quite lonely, which can be very demotivating. You can also feel boring. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have definitely, I've been lifting now for, I don't even know, how old am I? I've been lifting now for like 15 years. I can absolutely tell you that there have been times where I have, and I'm not talking a day or a week, I'm talking weeks, where I'm like, I'm bored with this programming. I am not lit up any of my workouts over the course of these 4, 8, even 12 weeks. And that is where discipline comes in, right? Your motivation is not going to be there. So
no, because a lot of working out is intrinsic motivation, that internal sense of I need to do this. And that is not always a good thing to be feeling, right? You're like,
it's so true, especially if you're like not working with a coach or somebody to hold you accountable. It's really easy to be like, no, I don't feel like it today.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, it's okay for you to say that sometimes, but like, no. We need to show up regularly. When you're lifts, when you're in a phase, when you just feel kind of like bored, it's hard.
Or you're working on something really tough.
Yep.
Right. Yep. For me, that's when it tends to fall apart, and I really need to gamify, is when I'm continuously struggling with the same lift or something. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It is very demotivating. Also, let's say you're not finding it lonely, you're not bored, your motivation is still going to drop on its own.
Always.
Motivation.
It comes and goes. It's highs and lows.
Yep, absolutely. And then I think a big one as well is that like a big thing that holds people back is this idea of Why am I not making more progress? And one thing that's not talked about enough that I think we are going to talk about here is the fact that you guys need to hear me when I say, as you lift longer and longer, you are going to make less and less progress. That doesn't mean less physical progress, but when we're talking about like strength gains, if you are a natural lifter, there is going to come a point where you're going to hit the upper end of what your body is capable of lifting strength wise. And again, if you start to, like for myself, I've been here 15 years, guess what? I'm not hitting 20-pound PRs. I'm not probably going to, wind up maxing out unless I switch to like a powerlifting style program for, 6 reps of squats. Like you're going to hit a wall. And if you don't know how to kind of make it fun around that, it can feel very demotivating.
Yes, exactly. Then that's what I mean when like I'm struggling with a heavy lift.
Yeah,
it's because I'm not seeing progress that I used to see, and that's not a bad thing. It speaks volumes to where you're at in your own journey, but it can feel pretty poopy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it can feel just very, again, we keep saying motivating, so demotivating, but it can just feel frustrating. It can feel aggravating. If you don't have the right headspace, this is where we get into like a negative cycle and possibly even start like negative self-talk, which we don't want to do. So this is where gamification comes in. I also want to say that if you're like me, so I do have ADD. So if you are anybody that is like neurodivergent, any of my neurodivergent people out there, gamification is really, really beneficial because, people with like executive functions that actually function, and I'm using the air quotes there if you're listening.
We love air quotes. Welcome if you're new here.
Yeah. People that, actually function with their executive functions and they have enough dopamine to drive themselves to stick to a plan and get into the gym often don't need like the incentive of a game or gamification to form a habit. But if you are like me and you do have ADD or you're neurodivergent in any way, gamification can be really, really beneficial. So let's talk about different ways that you can start to apply this or what it looks like. Have you used gamification for yourself?
I think at the time I didn't really realize I was doing it, but I definitely do. Even now, I still do. When I first started working out, I worked out at home. But if you looked at my basement walls, they were covered in like calendars, Post-it notes, spreadsheets. And I'm literally like, are you getting bigger? AMRAP.
Yeah.
And even as a kid, like I was a competitive swimmer and we were always doing like swim the whatever, like the Suez Canal. And, I would get in that pool every day and I would swim my little heart out so that I could move my little dolphin, a couple of inches on awesome. A big wall banner. Like that was very, very motivating for me.
Yeah, that felt like a reward, right?
Yeah, it pushed me so much in a sport that is very lonely, right?
Right. Oh yeah, swimming. Oh man, yeah, I would think that would be insanely lonely.
And like way back when Apple released the Apple Watch or whatever, I was a heavy like competitor, I was competing with everybody. Are we closing our move rings? Are we doing these things? So I definitely have used gamification in lots of ways. Even now I make up stupid stories for myself. Like I got a full backstory about like my character and what I'm training for. I'm not putting this anywhere. This is just like mentally how I'm getting through my workout.
That's amazing. I love that.
So, but yeah, that's kind of a SparkNotes version of how I've used it. But what about you? Like, let's get into some specifics here.
Yeah, well, actually, one thing I want to say is if you guys are thinking right now, I don't think I gamify. Let me tell you, a lot of you guys do.
Yeah. You don't even realize it.
For reals. So, okay, first of all, for me, when I first started getting into fitness, I started running, right? If you guys don't know our stories, literally first episode, season 1, we kind of went over our backgrounds here. But for me, I got in with running. A girlfriend and I from high school, we just were like, we need to do something. Summer break, we just decided to run. It was hard. It was horrible. I hated every minute of it. But one way I motivated myself, And I'm not necessarily saying that we should be like food driven. You know, I want to preface this to say we don't need to be using food as like a reward, but for some people, it can also be like a good motivation.
It's true.
Yeah, depending on like where you're at in your relationship with food. For me at that time, you know, I was a binge eater. Eating was out of control for me. I knew I needed to like rein in how I was eating like sweets or how much, but I also knew I wasn't just going to cut them out. So for me, what I would do is we would go to a school track and literally run laps. So to motivate myself, Reese's peanut butter cups are like literally my favorite thing ever. So I would get like the mini versions. Or even I remember at times like cutting them in half, like the big cups, because I'm not going to eat a cup every time. But I told myself for every lap I do, at the end of that lap, I'm going to have a Reese's mini. I also want to say that doing this in the summer some days was not a good idea because my chocolate definitely
Just
melted.
a puddle of chocolate.
Yeah. There are definitely days where I was like, what the hell? But yes, every time I did a lap, I would eat a mini. And that was like, I was like, you know, you're like, I'm getting my mini after this. And little hack here, again, being ADD, try telling me to keep track of how many laps. I always would forget. So we would decide in advance, like, okay, we're doing like 30 minutes or 10 laps or whatever it is. And so just like, if you adopt this mindset, you can literally take 10, so you know, and then as you eat them, you can keep track of it, right? It's like good to go there. But yeah, for me, that was my earliest form of gamification. For you guys out there right now, if you track your steps every day, that is a form of gamification, right? If you're like, oh, a
lot of you out there are probably using a fitness tracker. That's gamification, big time.
When Fitbit, I think was the first one, right? That came out.
Well, if it wasn't the first one, it was very early on. Like I had a real old school Fitbit.
Yeah, and people would like, how many steps are you getting? And even to this day, I think people are still in like groups where they like try to outstep each other. This is a form of gamification.
So I wear an Oura ring and. Yeah. Like I will ask my husband, like, what's your sleep score? Like, did you sleep better than me? What? I can't even control that. But we're very competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. That's hilarious.
But it helps because I'm not great at sleep. So then the next night I'm like, I'm gonna get the best sleep of my life. And that's what I'm telling myself, right? And so your body starts to respond to it.
Yeah, your body's like, okay, I'm here for that.
I'll try.
Sneak it into reality, people. Yeah. Another way that a lot of people gamify, because remember, society really boo-hoos like changing workouts too often. But we can still see gamification in other ways. So if you were doing the same workouts, but let's say you buy a new tracking app, whether it's on your watch or an app on your phone to track your workouts, that can feel new. It can feel motivating. It can feel exciting. Or clothes. Workout clothes are a big thing for people. Yeah. They're like, oh, if I work out this many times or I hit this PR, I'm going to go buy like a new workout outfit. You're keeping your workouts the same, but you are adding an element that like gamifies it now. Another one is, you know, again, if you work out with a friend, if you're currently working out with a friend, you're probably already gamifying because you're competitive, you're encouraging each other, things like that. Or a big one is changing gyms. Just that change in scenery, right? Kind of feels like you're gamifying it in some way because you are now adding a different element, which is what gamification is. You're following the same workouts, but you're doing it on a new machine. You're doing it in a new environment. It feels like a whole new element.
Another way I like to gamify my workouts is I stalk people casually, but like I'll go to the gym and I'll do my own thing, but then I'll look at what other people are doing and be like, I'm gonna try that today. If it's something I've not done before, right? Yeah. And see how it feels realistic. And explore it. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not talking about the like moves you see on YouTube videos or anything like that.
No, I'm probably looking at like the old guy who's a trainer or something, you know. Or that girl with the shoulders like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Other ways you guys can gamify. And these are all applicable, especially if you're working out with somebody or working out on your own. Yeah. Now, some of these, so I've used all of these. Some of these are definitely, I'm going to be real with you guys. They are a little bit like sadistic. So keep in mind, none of these are coming from the intention of like punishing yourself, but it's kind of just that if you are really competitive, and I'm competitive even with myself, that's where this is coming from.
And I think with fitness, you do have to push your comfort levels, right? And that's how you see a lot of growth is taking where you're at and pushing a little bit past it to prove to yourself that you can. And so I think if you view these as that and not as like, oh, like I have to do it, it's going to take you further.
For sure. For sure. So for me, if you guys have ever been like in the middle of a hard set, let's say, you know, your set calls for 8 reps and you're like, I'm going to stop at 7, even though you know you can, but you're just trying to give yourself a hall pass. I still do this all these years later, right? Because pain is uncomfortable for us. We are literally designed to avoid pain and seek pleasure. Yeah. So if I stop early, and I knew I could have done one more, I force myself to do an extra rep on the next set. I literally tell myself, if you stop early, if I'm thinking like, oh, it's 6 rep, you know, I'm supposed to hit 8 reps. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. I can just make this set like a 6 to 8 reps. I literally tell myself, you're doing one more rep now. And I force myself to do that. This one I find, especially like with cardio as well, if I tell myself like, oh, I'm going to stop at 28 minutes instead of 30, I actually do 31 minutes. So again, it sounds like a punishment mentality, but it's not. It's that motivator of, is it really worth it to sell myself short, to stop early? Because a lot of the time too, you do wind up doing that extra rep, or you go for that extra minute or whatever it is. And you're just like, you feel way better because you're like, wow, not only did I do it now, but I proved to myself I can actually do more.
Yeah. Cause there's positives in that, like hunting or looking for, or, you know, feeling accomplished by doing more. That's very much why gamification works for a lot of people. And this really does lean into that.
Yep. You know, at times, again, especially from the boredom perspective, you think to yourself like, oh, I'm going to work out for the next 75 minutes. I don't want to do this. So I would tell myself, you know what? I'm not going to focus necessarily as much on like how much can I lift, which might require me to actually take more reps. I've thought I'm going to have good, clean reps. I'm going to pull weight back a little bit, but I'm actually going to cut my rest times down and see how fast I can get my workout done today. And especially on days when you don't want to be there, that is such a motivating factor, because you're like,
get out, get it done.
Yes, let's get it done. So that, you know, I don't recommend using that one a ton. And I definitely, if you guys use that, I want you to make sure that priority was always keeping form good, which is why I would intentionally lower weight. I don't want you rushing, letting form get sloppy and then hurting yourself. But it's just that aspect of being locked in. How much of a rest do I need? Am I ready to go? And going, that like really lights a fire under your hoo-ha.
It's true.
Yeah.
And like it within this, like to take away maybe like a time constraint, like we were talking about cardio, especially the last point. For me, I hate cardio, but I'm like, I can do it for one more song. Or, you know, something like that, where it's not so much like I got to get out, but like a small amount of time base.
Yes. And actually on the cardio note, sometimes for me, because if you guys ever get caught in the mindset of you're just constantly staring at the time and you're like, oh, this is taking forever, I would literally count songs instead of time. So I would cover the time dash. I'd make sure my playlist is killer. It's always killer, let's be honest. And
you're the bad playlist. If you guys are out there with a bad playlist, come talk to us. We'll hook you up.
Yeah, honestly. And then I would say to myself, I'm not checking the time until I'm 5 songs in or 6 songs in or whatever, right? And it keeps your mind focused on what you're doing. But on the flip side of the like, how fast can I get this, you know, set done or this workout done? If you know, let's say you also only have 45 minutes and your workout normally takes you an hour 15, it's very easy to talk yourself out of just not doing it. But at times then I'd flip the script and say to myself, okay, how much can I get done in this time?
I use this one a lot.
Yeah. It keeps you really motivated. It keeps you really locked in. You surprise yourself at how efficient you are. And it's so rewarding to know that you did something instead of nothing.
And this one's great if you're like a doom scroller, or especially if you're using an app or something to track your workouts, because you get distracted. You get on there and then you're like, and suddenly your rest is 7 minutes. This is great for locking in and not having that be your default.
Yes. So sometimes what I would do, and this is actually something I've been applying lately because it's really easy with my work and clients to just be picking up my phone all the time. So I've actually told myself lately, every time I pick up my phone, I'm doing an extra rep, an extra set, whatever it is. And
guess what? I text you your entire workout.
Oh my gosh. I know. Like, no, I put my phone on silent now. So there's like no distraction at all. Literally, Steph has even said to me, he's like, can't you set it so that if I need you and I call, like it'll ring? I'm like, no interruptions. But it does. It works. We get distracted so easily. And it's like, you're already dying. Do you really want to do another 2 reps, another set, whatever it is? It's like, no, I'm not touching my phone.
Yeah, not worth it.
Oh. From a progress perspective, okay, sometimes it's really easy, again, when you're already tired, to just like, oh, you know, this weight is heavy, I'll do the same reps as last week, that's good enough. Or, you know, I'm not going to add 2 more pounds or 5 more pounds, even though I know that I could. So a great way to motivate yourself, even if, let's be honest, even if you're not sure if you could lift more weight or more reps, let's say, right, for the same weight, sometimes our biggest fault is that we talk ourselves out of doing something.
Yeah.
And remember, your body hears everything your mind says. If you say, I'm not going to be able to lift this from 2 more reps, guess what? You're probably not. Whereas if you flip that script and you're like, you know what? I bet you I can, or like gun to the head mentality.
But this is where like storylining works really well for me.
Yes.
Because it does push this like narrative for myself that I have to do this because there are these consequences that obviously don't exist, but it works so well for me because no longer I'm just me trying to lift this weight. I'm me in this position doing this thing.
Yep. Absolutely. So at times what I've said to myself is, if I don't lift this weight for 2 more reps than I did last week, I'm doing an entire other set. And like, you know, it's literally, again, when you're tired or you're doing an exercise that you don't love, for me, like step ups, guess what? 9 times out of 10, I'm getting those extra 2 reps. And then again, you are surprising yourself with what you are actually capable of. And this is how we accumulate progress from a different mental perspective.
And this is where tracking is part of gamification. We talk about the importance of this in other episodes, but because you've told yourself that, you've done those 2 extra reps, you have tracked it. When you go and you look at it the next time, you're like, oh man, I did that easy. Yes. I can do that again.
Yep.
And it pushes you through that stagnation.
Exactly. Yes. Mental model is everything here. So those are, you know, what do we just give you guys? 5-6 ways you can start to apply gamification to not just keep you more intrigued, not just keep you more motivated, have some more fun, but, you know, get progress, make sure progress is happening. 2 other side notes here: gamification from like an overall consistency perspective, especially if you are struggling with being consistent or you're new right now to working out. One of the things that I did early on, Nell, you kind of said this too, is like the calendar mentality. So I would literally keep a hard copy calendar, and at the time I was like combining both running and lifting. And so I would have like 2 different colors, and every day I, you know, did whatever I wanted to do, whether it was the workout or the run or whatever, I would put a check mark. And at the end of that month, I would see how many check marks I got, and I would try and beat it for the next month. And this was, again, literally early on. I remember doing this for the first 2 years of my journey. And actually then at the end of the year, I even counted how many days I worked out, and I tried to beat that for the next year. And it's that small, minute, week to week, month to month, but then grand scale, year to year. And guess what? At the end of the 2 years, I didn't need to do the calendar anymore because I was consistent.
That behavior had been built as a habit.
Exactly. Yep. It was good.
I think one thing we should talk about too before we wrap up here is gamification can also work within family and group dynamics. Yeah. Right? Like you had a point here in our notes about like going for a walk and taking pictures of something you wouldn't see while driving. This is a great way to increase activity and make it like a family event, right?
Yes.
Or like go for your walk, but stop at every playground and go down every slide. Like gamification doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be like locked into the gym specifically. So keep that in mind too, right? And this is where I really like the storyline building, because like I hate doing cardio. My brother's a musician. He's quite well known in Mexico.
Cool.
I hate cardio. I'm a musical theater kid, in case you didn't notice if you're watching along. And so the only reason I really do cardio is so that I can sing without being out of breath. And so when I get on my treadmill or whatever, I tell myself, I'm like, someday I'm going to be at this concert and every backup singer is going to be violently ill and I'm going to get called on stage. I have to be ready. That's my entire personality while I'm on the treadmill. But it keeps me, is this going to happen? No. Do I even live in Mexico? No.
Awesome. I love that, man.
But that's the kind of stuff I'm telling myself just to make it fun, right?
Yep. Absolutely. No, and it works. That's the thing. It works. You know, Pokemon Go, I remember when that came up.
Yeah. My husband had so many steps.
But honestly, that's the whole point. People all of a sudden were like walking so much because there was this aspect of gamifying your steps with Pokemon Go. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant in my opinion. And so that is literally what we are applying here. Remember, gamification is adding any element to a task that you are already doing that has it feeling new.
Yeah.
So get creative. Remember that like fitness is not this death sentence. It is not a prison. Okay. Fitness is something that you are choosing to do to empower you. And so allow it to work for your life. Don't feel like because you follow X, Y, and Z, who's absolutely shredded and doing bodybuilding shows and hasn't changed their program for the last 16 weeks, you can't do that to not see progress. That is bullshit. And it's part of why you're so unhappy with your workouts and not actually enjoying them. So gamify your workouts. Have fun. Make it fun. You get one life. Enjoy it. Go to the gym.
And I like documenting things. I think a lot of people people get spit on for, posting their post-workout selfie, but for me, that's part of the gamification, right? Yep. It's like this little badge of honor. I did that. Check that box. And then other people see that and they're like, oh, Alana was in the gym. Coach Nell's killing it. I'm going to go to the gym, right? I see that with your stuff all the time. And I'm like, oh man, okay. I don't have an excuse. Let's roll, And so truly, for me, that's gamification in a really simple sense because I'm highly competitive. I got to keep up. I got to keep rolling. That's, and I'm being inspired by other people's version of their own gamifications.
Totally. So hopefully you guys, this episode gave you some new ideas for how you could start to have a little bit more fun with your workouts, keep it a little bit more engaging, intriguing. If you guys try any of these, let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Are you a numbers person? Are you a storyline person? What are you doing? Are you giving yourself little lap rewards? We want to know.
Yes, absolutely. Or if you try something at the gym and you hit a PR, you share it to social media. Because like Nell said, that's a form of gamification right there. Tag us in it. We would love to see that. And in order for you guys to do that, you can find us on Instagram, on pretty much any social media platform. Yeah. I'm there under coach.frizzle.
And I'm there at coach.alana.nell.
Beauty. And you guys
we're also there on at Strong, Well-Fed, and Outspoken. So you can also take it
there. Of course, the podcast. Yes, Strong, Well-Fed, and Outspoken. But you'll find all the social media links below. Likewise, if you guys are like, you know what, this really hit home for me and I need that accountability as well, and you're ready to work with, some coaches that absolutely know their shit, but also keep it fun. If this episode documents you of that, then you guys can find the link to fill out a one-on-one coaching form to work with us with our elevated coaching. So
because we got an awesome crew now.
Yeah, we really do. If you guys haven't seen, there are some new people that new coaches that are on our team, absolutely crushing it. So check us out, like we said, on social media, or fill out one of those forms. Otherwise, next week, just to give you guys an idea, we are talking about, what are we talking about?
We're talking about eating clean too soon. Clean too soon?
Yes, it is true. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes people make when they get into any goal.
Damn, I've made this mistake for sure.
Yeah, me too, a million times, baby. Eating too clean too soon might be the thing that is ruining your ability to stay consistent. So we will see you guys next week for that episode. Until then, have a beautiful day, people.